So, it depends on the makeup of your business, depends on your own risk appetite. We come back to blind spots. A lot of it has to do with, do you feel like you've got your your blind spots under control? Do you have or do you feel comfortable that you're doing all the things you need to do? Because in a way, you're almost substituting yourself for the insurance company, not always completely. It's not all, there's pure self-insurance, but there's a lot of middle ground between purely, financing with a traditional insurance company and pure self-insurance. There's a lot in the middle, so that you're not going all the way into the deep end. But a lot of it comes back to that. So yeah, there's a lot of really, really good agents and brokers out there around the country that are well versed in this. It is something that we do for our larger clients. And so, but again, it comes down to the individual characteristics of a particular business as to whether it is even the best option for them or even something that they should consider.
So again, I want to try to get some more of the people online to chime in. Just tell me in the chat or the comments, yes or no. That's all I'm looking for. Are you getting some answers here that you're looking for? Yes or no. You can even just type a Y, a Y or an N. Just yes or no. We don't want to see if this is of interest. Are we going down a right path here? That's answering some questions for you. I'm learning some things. Hopefully you all are too. Just type a yes or no in the comments section, and we'll find out if we're answering some questions for you. Zander, talk me through what a good day looks like for a customer of yours. They come in, let's say they're a brand new customer, so there's no relationship there. They come to you and say, "Hey, look, I'm looking for insurance."
Mm-hmm.
How does that conversation go, and where does it lead to?
I mean, I would kind of press pause on that conversation right away, and assuming that it's completely cold, right?
Okay.
Um, you know, uh, I would almost want to take a step back and start to understand a little bit more about the business and why are we even talking?
Okay.
What is your motivation here? Tell me about the business. Tell me about how you do what you do. And how you think about, just the processes that you have. What we really want to be able to do. I said we don't think about insurance first. Insurance is one mechanism. Um, it is, think about a doctor, for example. A doctor, the good ones at least, are not prescribing you something before they first sit down and understand what underlying, issues you have, a full understanding of your medical history, and understand why they would want to prescribe something in the first place.
So a patient walks in the door and says, "I have a headache," and you say, "I need to send you to chemotherapy." You're saying you're jumping the gun a little bit if you're just jumping right into a
Yeah.
prescription of how to fix the problem, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, because there's a lot of assumptions that are made around that. Sometimes they say, well, here's my current policy. What can you do with that? Can you beat it? And again, there's a lot of assumptions that is set up the right way to begin with. We don't want to take that for granted. And so really first you want to take a deep dive into understanding your business and how insurance fits into sort of your protection plan in the first place. Are there opportunities to, get some of the other tools and resources we have in to help you? We definitely want to benchmark some things because again, one of our roles is to show improvement that you have with a company or show improvement that you have over time to a company, to a carrier. And so, we want to some degree sort of get some benchmarks. So there's a lot of sort of work that goes into first before we quote you, which is not something that I I don't love that sort of phrase because we view it more as an advisory relationship, and we first want to understand more of what goes into your business before we just jump the gun and go straight to insurance.
Well, you're building the story, right? I mean, you want to be able to go back with the story, not just say, here's the company. Can you give me a number? It's more about, hey, look, you want to be able to start that dialogue with the carrier as soon as you first contact them about a new potential customer, right?
And the dialogue with the client,
Yeah.
because we also, we're the advocates for the client. And a lot of our clients are big enough to where they've got complexity, right? Um, they're, they might have 25, 50, 150 vehicles, but we don't insure, you know, uh, the Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. Um, those companies have lots of complexity, but they've got the internal team and the resources and all of, now, we could, but that's not our target market. They've got a lot of the resources and tools. Um, our target clients have complexity. We can help them, and they don't necessarily have the structure in place. They got the entrepreneurs running around, and um, just all over the place. And we can come in and provide a lot of value by helping give them advice, helping them identify some of these issues, and improving those things. Whereas, they may have a management team in place, but it's, the kinds of things, risk management in general often falls to priority number, 10, 11, 12 on somebody's list. And so, if we're not there to help them, a lot of times it just doesn't get done. And so, starting that dialogue is not only useful for us acting as the broker of insurance policies, but it's also helping us as an advisor for the business itself.
Give me one or two things. So this customer comes in the door. You've said, hey, let's step back a couple of steps here before I do that. I want to understand why. Are you just looking for a price, or are you looking to actually change how things work? Wherever that conversation
Mhm.
falls. What are usually one or two things that you wish maybe they would ask, or that they knew before they walked in the door?
Um, that they knew.
Yeah, what would make them forewarned, so they're forearmed, kind of walked in the door? Armed seems like it's a combative relation. This is not
I
meant to be
don't.
combative.
Okay, here's one that I see a lot. I
Okay.
don't care what your premium is. So we've conditioned our industry. Our industry has conditioned a lot of businesses to, like, if they send you the current policy, which is helpful for us to understand where they're coming from. A lot of times I'll see something blacked out, and no offense to anybody that does that, who's watching this, but it doesn't matter. I don't care what premium you're currently paying, because I just, this is my personal outlook. I just operate under the assumption that, you know, there are improvements that can be made to your policy, and improvements, whether it's adding coverages, removing coverages, it's going to change the price. So, we don't get into bidding wars and that sort of, that's not the general approach that we have. And so, you know, I, it doesn't matter to me. And you're not necessarily sort of in any kind of advantage or withholding something just by blacking that out.
Okay. That's interesting. I wouldn't. I guess that makes sense. Um, because people are kind of just really just looking for a price at that point in time, right? They're
Yeah,
just
and
looking
yeah,
for,
yeah. And so then again, there's a lot to unpack there.
yeah,
Um, that's not to say that's exactly what they're doing. That might be what they're doing.
yeah,
And also, they just might be, that's just what they've always done.
yeah.
And so, that in and of itself is okay. Well, that's a great point. How can I help you?
Hmm.
If all those other approaches that we have are not necessarily valuable to you and it's just the price, well, that might be okay. Because, hey, listen, we've got some really good insurance companies that for the right businesses can be priced very, very competitively. Um, but, are you also looking for process improvement? Are you looking to um, sort of position yourself long term uh, to uh, to show carriers that this moment in time is just one moment in time? Are you looking for continuous improvement in your company? And are you going to allow me the ability to tell that story and to help you and then to turn around and communicate that to the carriers? Um, if you're not, there's, there's a lot of other good agencies out there that can quote you and move on.
Because I think what I'm hearing from you, and you haven't used this word yet, but I think this is encompassing what you're saying, is your approach is more of a holistic approach. Let's take a look at the whole picture first and find out how we stop up the gaps, as opposed to let's just do one thing at a time and try to get the cheapest price, because then you really have no idea where your gaps or your blind spots are in coverage. So your approach is more about a holistic approach to things. How can we make the whole uh, portfolio of insurance that you have as a company better, as opposed to just trying to shave off something here or
That's
there?
right. Yep, that's exactly right.
I remember you've talked about this thing. You have a compliance system. Talk to me about that. What does that do? Because you've got a methodology by which you follow to do that for people. What is that?
Yeah, so it's called Compliance Check, and it is a platform that helps us uh, really take a deep dive into various compliance and some safety related issues across property casualty, HR, benefits, um, and then a lot of safety focused topics as well. What has gone on in the last handful of years that we've noticed, and I'll say just the timing of this, new administration in Washington,